Hello, everybody, and welcome to Azumi Game Devlog Update Week. God in heaven, I have no idea. Uh, 2019's been off to a weird start. I've been incredibly sick. I just came from the doctors today. I have some sciatic nerve problems, apparently. And it's making life very bad, very not fun. Can't really do anything right now without being in absolute unbearable pain. Even right now, just sitting here, my leg feels like it's being stabbed by a hobo with a knife, and it's not fun. And every time I lie down to go to bed or sit down to do anything, it gets worse. So, yeah, progress has not been great. That's why there hasn't been a lot of updates. I lost my insurance when this started getting bad. This has been going on for 7 months now, but it's getting really bad now. And they thought hilariously that I made too much money to have the health insurance I had, which is not right. So trying to get that taken care of. But I wanted to give you guys an update on the game so far. I should try this cursor probably in the middle of everything. This is the tutorial tunnel. I added some little graffiti things to teach you how to play the game. It's very simple. You only really got to go through this once and you'll be fine. And yeah, what else did we do? If we added a little laser. It's just been a hitbox. Now there's an actual beam. You touch it, yeah, it hurts. So you can just dash through it like the graffiti tells you to. Burger, you pick up there, and you transition into this full game. In terms of other things that's really happened, I finished the crediting and stuff like that. Touched up some of the graphics here and there. The only other real thing is that I made it so when you clear this section, instead of just freezing and ending and there's nothing you can do, it just loops back to the title screen. So there is a loop now. There's no caught state. Eventually, I want to change just like looping back to the title screen here with the ending cutscene that will tease the release of the full game for whenever the hell that happens. Um, God, it's hard to think when half of your brain power is preventing you from screaming in pain. Yeah, not an excuse, just an observation. So the only things left to do at this point are these cutscenes. And the cutscenes are proving to be incredibly difficult. I'm going to stop playing so I can actually use what little brain power I have left to explain this in more detail. I have 3D assets that I am compressing down and indexing the colors to make them appear to look like 16-bit sprites. The effect works better on some of the assets I've made than others. For example, if we zoom in here, I think Azumi came out pretty good. I think this big Oni guy came out pretty garbage. If I'm not too lazy, maybe I'll take another pass at him before the launch. That one, a lot of them kind of came out very pixelated, and not in a good way, but in this is clearly an effect and not hand-drawn. Azumi is definitely not hand-drawn either, but it's more subdued in her case. None of these sprites are perfect. They're not going to look as good as doing them hand-drawn. But that leads into my points. I am a bad animator. I don't have any formal experience with animation. I'm kind of making this all up as I go and hoping for the best. And that means that the cutscenes are incredibly fucking hard to do. And not only are they hard to actually animate, but because of this style that I've done, trying to take my 3D assets and convert them into something with more fidelity, like a cutscene that uses the full game resolution, means a lot of jank is introduced to the aesthetic, and I'm having a difficult time rectifying that because hand painting them will make them too detailed. Downscaling that hand painting, like I did with all these 3D assets, there's just too much resolution and too much noise gets introduced. Drawing them like I would normally draw them makes it a completely different aesthetic style. So I can't drop in the Azumi model against backgrounds. And even more damning than that, to the cutscene that I have for the intro is really complicated. It requires building a lot of sets if I do it in 3D, or doing a lot of detailed backgrounds in 2D. Uh, it's a lot of work. And I'm at the point now, at the end of January. This is like the latest I wanted to launch, and I haven't even really started the marketing campaign that I was gonna do for a month to try and like get Azumi as a character out there and build interest. So when it launches, there's some momentum behind it. So being sick this month, like having these really bad leg problems, like I can't even go to the gym or anything right now, and that really pisses me off. How am I gonna do my Q and A's? Um, just in general, shit's been tough. So I have other projects that I need to do besides this one. There's a lot of things I have planned to do for 2019. Really get better at 3D, get back into drawing and do more of that. Um, Programming. I think programming is probably going to be a big part of my life going forward, like actual real Python programming, not even just for killing code with Munchie, and not even just to like port this project over to Godot at some point, but just I'm at the point where unless Azumi takes off in a big way, I'm going to need to look for more traditional employment at some point. Um, Minimum wage is not going to work, so I'm thinking maybe programming might be my long term like real thing, because that's a kind of job I can see myself doing with my particular tisms. So programming is a big deal for me. I gotta like get some certifications for that and stuff. This is a long, rambly way of saying I don't have time to do this cutscene. So there's an ending cutscene that's simple. I'm still going to do that, but I've made the difficult decision to say there will be no intro cutscene. That will probably save me 4 to 5 weeks of effort. That really doesn't have a huge amount of tangible benefits to the project other than being kind of cool in my mind. Um, so that's where I'm at right now. Is I'm gonna get the final cutscene, which is just a couple shots of limited animation, 16-bit style. Get that out, get that into the game, and then the game, the vertical slice, is done. It's all set to go at that point. Everything else is really there. I'll probably send it out to patrons, do some final bug testing, make sure anything new that I've introduced doesn't have some unintended side effects that I've not been made aware of yet. But then I'll start marketing for probably a month. I'll probably do a lot of drawings of Azumi and 3D models of Azumi, maybe some simple little animated GIFs of Azumi, trying to get better at animation. So I still have a CG Cookie subscription I haven't touched, and it's almost expired. It's been a year. There's just a lot on my plate, and the game is a small part of a bigger thing, which is getting this character some momentum. Because she's my final Hail Mary before I kind of just have to give it up and like be like, yeah, I'm not a digibro. My online stuff is just a hobby, and I have to put the big boy pants back on and get a real job and just kind of deal with a 9 to 5 grind and try and convince myself that that isn't the huge bag of failure that I currently believe it is. Yeah. And also just getting fucking healthy. I have to go to like physical therapy for my fucking leg now, which is going to take weeks and weeks and weeks. So for the sake of my sanity and just keeping a relative time frame and making sure all the other not more important things, but equally as important things get the attention they deserve, I think it's time to really wrap up the vertical slice. You know, I've been going since October. That's a long time. This entire month has been basically a wash. Like the stuff I talked about that I added literally in the last 3 days. The entire rest of the month, it's just been kind of either being like emotionally upset because a lot of financial problems in the beginning of the month really fucked me good, including losing my health insurance. And then physical problems the last week and a half I can't walk really anymore and shit. And it's hard to just sit in a chair and work because even sitting causes an intense amount of pain. Like right now, I'm in agony. So I got a prescription I got to pick up tomorrow that'll hopefully help with the pain. I've been vaping shit tons of CBD oil, which apparently helps with pain. I don't know if I agree with that. I haven't really noticed anything tangible But it's time to get this out there. It's time to get this in your hands and put it to bed and move on to bigger and better things. Whether that's the full Azumi 2D game that I have an idea for, or whether it's just other Azumi content, it really depends on the reception. I think I'm repeating myself now. I'm pretty sure I've said this before. But the reception of the vertical slice will determine where I go going forward. But also, I just have to start working on programming in general, because that's going to be my contingency plan if things just don't pick up at a pace quick enough. Because I've done like months of this work and I haven't really gained any patrons, and that's fine. You know, I've gained some patrons, but I've lost some at the same time. So the gross, no, the net increase is really nothing, and that's fine. Like, I mean, it's not fine, but like I don't blame anybody but myself for not putting out a good enough product, or just not being active enough. So this is kind of getting away from a game update and more just a life update. But at this point, they're kind of starting to get intertwined because this is taking so long and so many other things are stacking up on top of it. And this is like blocking any progression with anything else. I just need to wrap this up. So I think I'm just going to do the final little teaser cutscene once you beat the arena part. And then I'm going to put the project to bed, market it a little bit, launch it on Newgrounds or Itch. I'm not sure which yet. And then just keep going with whatever fucking happens. And give the other things in my life the attention that they deserve, because they deserve it. So that's all I got. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And I'll talk to you guys, hopefully, next week, as long as I stay on point and real life doesn't drop another fucking bomb on me. But yeah, have a good one, guys, and thank you for listening as always.